Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you're watching for the first time. The country is becoming tired of the Kenya Kwanza administration and the entire leadership. You talk of the Mama Mboga, the hustlers, those who voted for them, the church that they used to campaign. They are tired. Kanyari pastor was in church, and in the midst of his sermon, I don't know what got into his head. He was trying to drive a message, and the analogy that he used was about the Kenya Kwanza regime and the people who voted for them. And Kanyari conducted what looked like an opinion poll, and he was asking the entire congregation, the entire church, how many people will vote for William Ruto in 2027? And he told them, if you know you are part of the people who will vote for William Ruto, raise up your hand. No one raised their hands. And then he asked, and how many people swear that they will take this government home come 2027? And the entire congregation raised their hands. And Kanyari added that the reason why people are tired and why they are taking a vow that Ruto must be kicked out come 2027 is because William Ruto has failed the people in terms of the promises. Kindly take a look.
Hii serikali ya UDA nyinyi ndio mtaamua 2027 mtaichagua ama hamtaichagua. Wangapi wanaona wakichagua serikali ya UDA? Inua mkono wako juu. Wangapi wanaona mpaka hapo hii lazima iende nyumbani? Inua mkono wako juu. Inua kabisa mkono juu. Pastors, hatuko pamoja. Kama unasema serikali itaenda nyumbani, inua mkono wako juu. Ienda nyumbani. Kanisa zima kila mtu amesema hii serikali lazima itaenda wapi? Itaenda nyumbani. Hebu inua mkono tena. Wala wanasema hii serikali lazima iende asubuhi na mapema. Kura yangu ni iende nyumbani. Inua mkono juu. Si unaona? Kwa nini mnataka iende nyumbani? Maana haijakuwa nzuri kweli.
You know, I'm shocked because, you know, some of these pastors and bishops, the clergy, were used in 2022. And they publicly campaigned for William Samoei Ruto. Because William Ruto has, had indicated then that they were signed by God to come and help Kenya emancipate itself from the chains of poverty and political manipulation that they had accused the Handshake brothers of perpetuating. And so I was wondering the guts and the courage that these pastors get. We saw Reverend Wainaina doing the same and castigating President Ruto and telling him off that he used the church platform to get to power. Now he's using the very, very church podiums to perpetuate corruption, tribalism, and threatening people. I've also seen the Catholic Nyeri branch, Reverend Muheria, also coming up with a lot of courage, looking at Ruto in the eyes and telling him, you are wrong. You are not the person who was campaigning in 2027. Because if you looked at that sermon, it was an open question. How many people would want to vote for William Ruto? And I do not think that there was just one particular tribe in that church. I believe that that church is cosmopolitan. It consists of different groups, different ethnic groups. Wajaluo, Wakisii, Wakale, Wakikuyu, Wameru, Wakamba, from the coast, and all those. And the entire church did not want to associate themselves with William Samoei Ruto. I also believe that church is composed of people of different age groups and age gaps. The youth, the young, the middle age, and the old. And so this is the kind of attitude that people now have against William Samoei Ruto. Because when William Ruto got into power, people welcomed him as a breath of fresh air. But now people are tired. And apart from being tired, people have got the courage to express. When you see people coming up even in their churches and they want to express and they tell Ruto you are wrong, notwithstanding the fact that there could be that fear that they can close your church. The other day, Pastor Nganga was telling them, kujeni mfunge, kujeni mfunge. Yani, they are tired. They've just decided, come what may. They're ready for it. Because they are no longer going to take it. And you see, kindly note that this is just the first year. Let me just say that 17 or 18 months after William Ruto ascended to power and took oath of office. What do you think? How do you think the next 4 years is going to look like for William Ruto? In churches, they are rebelling. When he goes for rallies, people shut him down. People shut his allies like they did to the Nakuru governor, Susan Kihika. Like the people of Busia did the same. Wherever he goes, people shout him, they shut him down, they heckle him, or they simply decide that they don't want to go. The hustlers are tired and they are expressing their dissatisfaction. The mamabongas are saying, we were used. If you look at the church that we have today, it is only some tribal churches and the M-Pesa clergy, those who still depend on handouts to survive, that are still supporting this government. But the majority of the church is tired. Someone was telling me that even the contribution that is going to the church has reduced drastically because the cost of living is just too high. People don't even have money and they feel that heat. Some of them feel very bad that they were used or misused because they were requested to campaign for William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And some of them are even confessing that you can't blame us. This man presented himself, the duo, Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto, presented themselves as the new pastors in town. And then for a moment, the clergy thought that we are going to have a president and a deputy that love God. You know that William Ruto has a church in Karen. And the first lady, Madam Richards, always said that at some point she even prayed for some water as they were digging a borehole, and that water was not fit for human consumption. And she prayed, and God converted that water, that it can now be consumed by human. It's fit for human consumption. The second lady, Dorcas, also is a prophetess, sort of. She's got a church. So when the clergy looked at them and they were like, now Kenya, for the first time, Kenya is going to have a president and a deputy that belong to church. And they took William Ruto and Rigathi as their own. They owned William Ruto. And they told people, Raila hapendi Mungu, Raila taki kanisa, let's vote him out. Now the same people are looking at themselves and what got into them and how they, they marketed William Samoei Ruto, and they feel cheap. They feel, humiliated, and they feel very bad. And that's what they are coming out and saying, Apana, this is not the man. And you see, Kanyari was doing it in a very, wise way. Just asking the congregation, how many people are ready? And that is just a sample. It is an opinion poll. The next thing you're going to see, they're going to say that the opposition is now working with certain pastors and bishops and the clergy to sabotage the government. Because it is the norm now that when you go to court against the government policy that you feel retrogressive, you are now sabotaging and you are in cahoot with the opposition. You go to the streets to try and lament against your dissatisfaction against the government, you're sabotaging the government. And they are not afraid to mention names. They say it is Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga. When the opinion polls are favoring them, it is nice. Like the other day, Malala was saying that the opinion polls that were conducted indicated that UDA was the most progressive party and the most famous. And Malala called for a press conference just for that, praising and saying that they are not yet done. After William Ruto has implemented all the promises, that very many people will come to UDA. But when the same opinion poll says that William Ruto is at D and Rigathi Gachagua is at an E and the entire cabinet has failed, then they say that the opinion poll has been sponsored. And this is the problem that we have. The church has moved away. The hustlers have moved away. The mamambogas have moved away. The areas that voted for William Ruto to the man are now rebellious. In Nyahururu, you saw what happened. And people are very tired. Unless something drastic happens, William Ruto is staring at a possibility of becoming a one-term president. And I know he's really wrestling this idea, this reality, but it is going to be very difficult for him, because all the fallacy that he used, the dishonesty in the statements and in the actions, can no longer be repeated anymore. People know and they are able to discern that this is fallacy and this is truth. He's been tried and tested now, and they know where he belongs. So it's not going to be very easy. You know, the promises, he keeps on promising. Whatever he said in 2022, he perpetuates it today. And I've seen him trying to create a war between the haves and the have-nots, saying that the rich do not want to pay housing levy, so that they deny the poor these affordable houses. The other time he was saying that the rich do not want to pay the NHIF, so that they deny the poor affordable medical cover. And he's trying to bring that class war
just as it was during the campaigns in 2022, when he said that it was going to be a battle between the hustle and the dynasties, the hustlers and the dynasties. But now, everything has been unearthed and people know him for who he is. And if there is one thing that people also understand, the other day when the UD members of parliament, and in fact the Kenyans members of parliament, told him that we are becoming unpopular on the ground about the high cost of living. And he said, you do not have to be popular all the times. You need to be popular at the right time. And with that, everyone has interpreted that he's going to make life very difficult. And they're going to keep a lot of money. Then when it comes to the penultimate end towards 2027, he's going to reduce the cost of living, and they're going to, really use this money to bribe people. And people know exactly his strategy. And that is one good thing about Kenyans. I know we still have a few people who are still thinking about their ethnicity, and they will still vote based on their ethnic lines and their inclination to the party lines. But majority now have seen the light, and they have removed their heads from the sand. What happened in church is just but a tip of an iceberg. If an opinion poll would be honestly conducted, very many people who voted for William Ruto are now tired, because the cost of education is just too high, the prices of basic commodities are just too high, and what happens is that he does not care at all. The judiciary is captured, the parliament is captured, people don't even know where they can run to. I don't know, just like Kanyari, are you still ready to vote for William Samoei Ruto? Please share with me in the comment section.